Okay, so we are at part 2, and this is the fun part. So I'm taking all these small paintings that I did. You can call them studies, you can call them maquettes, whatever you want to call them. But they were primarily done with a very limited palette, like black and white, and I added some quinacridone nickel azo gold, and one I added a little bit of pink in it. Then I cut them up, and then I took a couple of them that I liked and used them as inspiration to make the larger paintings. And so I want to show you in this video, the second part here, how the large paintings turned out. I like them. At this point, I'm going to leave them as they are. Of course, as the artist, I have the freedom if I want to change them down the road, but I like because I added some sgraffito. But the key thing is when you're doing these abstracts is to keep track of the marks that you love. I love sgraffito. I love writing backwards. I love writing with the hypho black with a little paintbrush. There's different things that I love that make my paintings unique. That's the key to what you need to do, is to find the things that are the things you love, the things that you want to repeat in your artwork. That's what makes, when people see your artwork, unique. Let me tell you a quick story. I had an outside studio, and I had sold at an art show a year prior a painting to a woman, and she had someone install it in her home. And I was at my outside studio, completely different time in my life, and I had kind of the same style painting hanging on the outside wall. And there was this man walking through with some other friends, and I heard him say, "Oh my goodness, that's Cheryl Wilson." And I thought, okay, well, I'm not famous. I'm not that well known yet. And he popped in my studio and he goes, "I recognize your art." He goes, "About a year ago, I hung a piece of art for a lady who asked me to help her. She is in a subdevelopment of friends of mine. And I saw your style, and I've always remembered it because of the black and white, and I just enjoyed it." And he goes, "As soon as I saw your art piece, I realized that it was your art." And that taught me a lesson, not to say, "Oh, wow, somebody noticed my art," but the consistency of having, not that I'm there yet, but the consistency of having your marks, some unique marks that are just for you, that, and I'll put the painting in here so you can see it, caused this gentleman to recognize my art, and I love that. So, without giving you more stories, let's get into finishing off this study of paintings into the larger art. And then thank you for coming back. If you're new to my channel, I'm Cheryl Wilson. Watch part 1, that explains more. So let's get into the painting. All right, here are my 8 little mini paintings, and they're still drying. But you can see by just looking at them a painting that could happen from these. I'm really liking this one here. It's simple, and believe me, you think that it is easy to create that, but you really have to keep in mind balance. So this one, maybe instead of this being, it's almost in the middle, I would have to move it over a little bit more for this to be more balanced. But I like the shape. I like this one. I like the simplicity of this one. I think that could be a beautiful larger painting. These are both ones that I think would be good upside up, you know, vertical. I think this one is kind of interesting too. Very, very simple. I think I tend to go to a very, and I've learned the minimalistic painting, it's more of the post minimalistic because it has some expression to it. Some of these others, these have more of the Titan buff in them. So it'd have to have, in my opinion, more interest with some more markings maybe, which could be done that I didn't show on here. This maybe had the background a little lighter because there's too much chaos going on here. These shapes are somewhat the same, so this would have to be kind of tweaked a little bit, but I'm liking the colors. I like this one too. This one's interesting. So I don't know. Let's get a canvas and let's just take off and see see where the mood takes us. See where the inspiration leads us. Okay, so I've taken my camera and put it on a higher riser. So I hope you can see these because these are 48 inches long and 12 inches wide. And that's just kind of, it's a harder style for me to paint, but I want the challenge. So that's why I'm going to do this. And my inspiration is pretty much, I want to do a couple simple paintings. I have a couple in my home that are like this, but I kind of want to use this one. I'm not sure which way. A lot of texture up here. I'm going to add a lot of charcoal. I do like that, so I may put more black down here, maybe a little less on this one. So maybe these two as an inspiration. I do like a lot of charcoal marks. I thought I would do this one, but I think I'm going to use a lot of charcoal marks on this. So may use these two. I'm going to put them up above me. You won't see them, but I do have them up in front of me, and I'm sure I will go off script on them because I'll get going in the moment type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some charcoal. I've moved some of my tools so I could get to the camera up high. So let's cross our fingers it doesn't fall. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Now this is a charcoal, so what will happen is this will bleed as it does get wet. If you don't want that, I've mentioned that before, then you'll need to put like a spray fixative. And I don't mind it to have that. This is a pencil, so it's going to have less marks. So let me go ahead and start with that. I'm going to go ahead and put some water, which will immediately start to activate that charcoal. I have a large brush that I'm going to start with some white, and it's going to really start to make a sloppy mess, and that's what I want. I may have to go to the other end of my table. These are long. I normally would do these up on my easel or my wall, but for demonstration purposes for you, that's not as optimal for you to see them being created. Here's the shop towel. Just gives it a unusual look. The thicker the paint, the more of a look it will have. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in some Titan Buff. I'm going to use my same brush. This is called a diptych because there's two of them together. I don't even mind if there's some thickness of the paint left. So add some more white. I'm going to go ahead and add in some high flow. You can't see the very bottom, and you won't be able to see the very top until we're done. But I'm just, let me scoop this up so you can see. I'm adding some very thick paint, and I'm actually just leaving it. I love the texture. I'm doing that with both the white and the Titan Buff. I'm gonna have to go up to the end of my art table here. I'm just getting the tops of these. I love how the high flow has a very high flowing way of moving. I'm going to take my shop back in some areas. And I don't know, you can't see the texture, but what it does, it gives it a very unusual, it's pulling up some of the paint that I have on the shop, the blue paper, and it's transferring it. And I'm trying not to smush down some of those larger splats of paint. So I'm going to look at it. Okay, I'm going to turn my overhead light off, see if you can see a little bit better. Can see maybe that combination. Let me open another. So there's not a lot of color on here. Again, when I put marks down, I will go in and blurt some of them out. Let's see what else I want on here. I want some drips. So some people like drips, some people don't. It's a preference thing. If you're an artist that likes strips, go for it. If you don't like drips, come up with other marks that are unique to you. At the top of the drips, I put my paper towel, and that kind of gave a bubbling effect. So now I want to bring in some of the black. I think on one I was going to have, I'm going to do both I'm going to use black gesso and the high flow. So this one, let's see if I can move this up enough. I'm rearranging my art room as I'm painting so you can see. Someone asked me to share with them some of the music I play, and I wish I could, but a lot of the music I share with all of you is Epidemic Sound. It's I pay for it, and it's only like 3 to 5 minute snippets. It's primarily for YouTubers, so it's not something that is something that you can go to and just find. You'd have to pay for the subscription, and it's not what you're looking for. But I listen to a lot of Hauser. It's a celloist. If you know him, you know him. I listen to a lot of Puccini. I listen to my dad was a musician, so I listen to a lot of classical music. And when I say musician, I'm talking about of the classics, Air Force Band. So his music was arranged, a lot of the older music, because he's 94 now. Now this I'm putting on here, and I'm just, it's gonna be very haphazard down here. And some people will say that abstract painting is easy, and it's not. Because to get the right balance in your abstracts, you do have to work at the balance. You have to work at the underpainting. That's just my opinion. It's not something any child could do. I laugh at that, but since I'm doing a lot on the bottom, let me move these up so you can see the bottom. At this point, I'm gonna have to let them dry. It's really hard for you to see all the texture I have going on in here. There is a lot. But I want this to dry. First, before I do a next step. I had to actually remove my camera from my stand. I'm going to have to figure out. I only do so much that I can with YouTube because I don't make money yet with YouTube. Well, I make a little bit of money with YouTube, but definitely not enough to buy new equipment. And my stand that I made was slowly tilting, and I thought I was going to lose the camera right into my painting. So I'm down to it being the smaller. One of these days I'll show you the setup. I think I did in one of my other videos, but I'm going to add, this is still a little bit wet, but I use a high flow, and I have it sitting over here, and I'm using like a rigger brush. It's a very thin brush, and I already splattered, which is okay, but I'm going to go in and just add, I always add, let me show you a painting. There's one word that I add, and I add it backwards to almost all my abstracts, and that's the word emotions, or emotion, or the 56. There's certain things that you will do as an artist repetitively that makes your paintings your unique marks. So I'm going to go in, and even though some of this is still wet, and it's not even anything that you can read, and a lot of people will say, what is that? And you know, I'll tell them. I don't mind telling people what the word is, but you can't even tell that's the word emotions, but it's a word I use. So both of these will have that, and I can even do a little bit down here, just some miscellaneous, some of my drips, because I did put this to the side when I had to move my camera. I had to move my paintings just in case. So it's still drying. I did want to go in and add those words. I'm not quite sure what else I am going to do. I have another painting over here on the wall, a larger one I'm working on. And it's midway. It's just a lot of these same colors since I have the paints. And, you know, I've had to wash my hands a couple times because I do use my hands. I don't mind using my hands. I do have a pump that I put on my hands that is a coating. It's so covered with paint that I don't even remember the name of it. So I thought I would bring the two paintings up to my side wall, and I wanted to share with you what I did to finish these off. Basically everything's the same, but then I added two pieces of just mixed media. If you've seen my videos before, you know I have a huge basket of papers, handmade papers, collage papers, all sorts of things. And this was two pieces I just cut in half and I added them to my canvas. I added some writing. I do that on tissue paper, and then I just use black and write on the tissue paper so it's real thin. Just a couple additional little mixed media pieces to give this painting, or these paintings, a finish. So I hope that you have enjoyed being with me. Please comment below that you visited me and tell me how you're doing, and leave any comment you want. And again, thank you for being a part of my life, and I'll see you next time.